Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of United Talks Podcast. And today we're going to be doing the pre-match press conference review for the Wolverhampton game. So, welcome to the press conference show. But before we go on to what Ruben Amorim has said, obviously we're going to touch on something with regards to the team news for the Wolves trip. Ruben Amorim is hopeful that Dalot, Matthijs, Ligt, and other players are available for the Manchester United Premier League game game at Wolverhampton Wanderers. You know, Dalot appeared to signal to the bench that he needed a place in after opening the scoring against West Ham with his first league goal at Old Trafford. It's raised concerns that he may be a doubt for Monday night at Molineux, while Matthijs Ligt was not in the match they scored after picking up an injury. Now, the boss did not declare before kickoff against the Hammers that the boss actually declared before kickoff against the Hammers that he expected that the Netherlands centre back would return for the next fixture. Now, when journalists asked him, he says, "I think so." He replied to the journalist, and if asked if the pair would be okay for the Wolves, he says, "We'll see." The boss was also asked about Kobbie Mainoo's situation again, and the midfielder was not. That the midfielder was not brought on against West Ham, and whether that may be a little demoralizing for the academy graduates. And Ruben Amorim responded, but that's another part of the conversation we're going to talk about. I just had to give you the injury update and all that. He responded, and that's the spicy part of the press conference that Ruben Amorim gave ahead of Wolves. Now we're going to talk in details about what Ruben Amorim said in the press conference previewing the Wolves game, because basically this press conference happened almost immediately after the game against West Ham. Ruben Amorim said a whole lot of things, broke down a whole lot of things, and it was pretty interesting to see, the Man United manager under pressure, feeling frustrated and devastated with regards to the defeat. But then, obviously, it's one of those things where you just have to kind of basically just make good use of whatever information you can get. But it is what it is. So Ruben Amorim conducted pre-match press conference for Monday's trip to Wolverhampton Wanderers on Thursday night after the draw with West Ham United. Pretty much just gave like 4 or 5 minutes of time for the post-match, and then went straight to the pre-match ahead of Wolves. Now the boss was clearly still frustrated with the result against the Hammers, which actually means that we were eighth in the table, and we moved to 12th after 14 games, but within 2 points of the Champions League places. Now I think it's about 3 points now, or 4 points, seeing as Chelsea drew. Yeah. So after the meeting with the struggling Black Country outfit, the boss was asked about Kobbie Mainoo's involvement so far this season, plus the squad's physical and mental conditioning. He also gave updates on 2 Reds who are injury doubts, which I just talked about at the top of the show, and touched upon the African Cup of Nations, which will see us lose Mazraoui and Bryan Mbeumo. Now, basically, some questions that were asked, it looked like they were not related to the game, but we will talk about them. The first question I was asked him was, when you look at the senior squad, I think there's only 4 players who have not started a Premier League game this season. One is Tom Heaton, third choice goalkeeper Tyrone Malacia. Last year, the club were open to selling him, and Lisandro Martinez just came back from injury. I mean, for Kobbie Mainoo, can you see how it must be quite deflating and demoralizing for him? I'm like, what kind of question is this? But it is what it is. We have to analyze it, right? He says, I see it, and I just want to win. I try to put the players. I don't look who it is. I don't care about that. I'm trying to put the best players on the pitch. You have Manuel Ugarte that played 2 games. One of them, Case, was out. That's Casemiro was out. Bruno always fit and is the guy that is doing his position, so maybe it has to do with that. And he has always said that several times, that him and Bruno are competing, and if Bruno is always fit and doing well and running the show, might as well not take him out unless you push Bruno up top. And you saw how it happened that Bruno being pushed up top took away the creative burden from him, and he now has to be the one to receive the passes. Bruno is always the guy that goes and takes it from the defense and plays a long pass and all of that, or tries to drive the ball forward and all of that. But you take him out and put him as a 10, it takes away the creative burden from Bruno and all of that. Now, can Mainoo play it? No doubt. I believe he can. But is he as fast and as fit as Bruno? I don't know. I don't think so. But it is what it is. I know most fans, because of their kind of like emotional attachment to Mainoo and their dislike for Bruno, they would rather go, I would go with Mainoo ahead of Bruno. But it is what it is. We saw how that panned out against Grimsby Town. And the truth is, with all these questions about Bruno, about Kobbie, it puts pressure on the player that when he comes on now, he tends to want to overdo to impress and all of that, or he want to push for a move in January, but we'll see. Now, the next question was like, do you think AFCON could be an opportunity for Kobbie? Obviously, it's going to be an opportunity for Kobbie. But he says, I don't know, guys. And this is what Ruben Amorim said, and I'll tell you where this led to, right? It kind of got heated because obviously this is a manager who's very frustrated that we are not winning games and we're drawing games and on losing as well. He says, I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's the same question. I don't know what's going to happen. It depends. I see the training. I see what is the best thing for the team. I'll put it in the team. That is the only way I know how to respond to that. And obviously, the Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, has come out to say, obviously, that we don't listen to what the media, the press, the everybody says. Anybody who is a tactical or online putting out stuff, we don't just listen to everything. We operate on our own, independent of their opinions. Not saying that they ignore the opinions of the fans and stuff, but the opinions of the fans does not determine how the club is run, especially on the field of play. But it is what it is. So yeah, I said, I don't know. The only way I know how to respond to that is I see the training and I put the best team that I think can do the job on the pitch, and that's the only way he knows how to respond to that question. And then another question was, obviously, Wolves provided some low points at Molineux last season. Last season felt like one of the darker moments. How important is it to take the fact that they've not won a game this season for granted because you've just played 18th? Like, it's just poking at him. He says everything can happen and that will change. There is no team in the Premier League history that didn't win one game, so it can be any game. So we need to try to improve, to rest the players, work really well, prepare a tough match, because with us it's always a tough match, and that's what it is. Because like I said, what he's trying to say in effect is this, that when other teams want to play Man United, it becomes a tough game. It becomes a really tough game. So now, next thing, the next journalist asks a question. And what I said before that, because this is where it's getting spicy, it becomes a tough game because those guys kind of because it's Man United, they want to win Man United, right? But it is what it is. Now, this is where it gets spicy. He says, do you understand why? I'm like, are you asking a kid? This is a 40-year-old man who's coaching and has been coaching for the last 6 years. So do you understand why we ask about Kobbie? Because he's homegrown? Like, yeah. Say, yes, of course, I understand. And my job is to answer. But I'm trying to answer always the same thing. He's giving you the answer. What more do you need? And you ask me always the same thing. I understand what you're saying. You love Kobbie. He starts for England. But that doesn't mean that I need to put Kobbie in when I feel that I shouldn't put Kobbie in. So it's my decision. And basically, it's his gut feeling. His gut feeling is telling him, yeah, quite all right. It hasn't worked out the way he wants it. But he's trying to make sure it works out. So he's trying to make sure it works out, right? He says, I understand. And you love Kobbie. He's an academy graduate. He's played for England. He's scored for Man United and all of that. But if his gut feeling and what he's seeing at training is not giving him the nudge to actually put Kobbie, then he won't put Kobbie. Now, he now says, and then another question, the next question follows. It does feel though, for all you say about the academy, like it's like they're poking him and they keep poking him. It does feel though, for all you say about the academy, that you don't actually trust the academy. Now I ask them why. He says, because you never pick any players from there. He says, any players? We have Kobbie Mainoo, right? Then I asked, Share Lacey? He said, but Lacey, in difficult situations, I've said this time and again, yeah, if we follow everything everybody says, everybody in the academy will be playing in the first team and these players will be out the door, and guess what? This club will probably be ruined. I'm not gonna lie. I know they're gonna be more hungry and more able to play, but with the pressure, the fans, the media, everything, the narrative everybody is putting on the club, it's gonna be difficult for any player to thrive at this club. Right? He says, but Lacey, in difficult situations, I mean, that what does that do for his mentality? I understand that answer. What does that do for his mentality? And for Lacey, sometimes when Brian Mbeumo is not there, I put Ahmad, obviously, because he has backups for every position, because I have other wing backs to play, and sometimes it's hard. So you're asking me, why don't I put Lacey to play when I have other guys that are internationals and also they are on the bench? So I try to put the best guys, the prepared guys for this moment of the match, or for this moment of the club, and to try to win a game. And that's the only thing, guys. That's what he said. So basically, with regards to that, they were trying to poke him with regards to the academy and all that. Oh, for all you say about the academy, I thought you said you play academy players. You've done that in your previous club and stuff, and then all of a sudden you're not putting in the academy players you have and stuff. So it's just a kind of to try to test him, right? And it seems to be really rattled, because obviously coming from the frustration of the game against West Ham and also losing the game the last couple minutes, 83 minutes and all of that. Ruben Amorim was being asked again another question with regards to that. So when the team has the opportunity this season to step on and push up the league to move into the top 4, top 5 areas, there seems to always be a setback. Like tonight, do you think there's an issue with their belief? They're coping with the pressure of the moment in these games? That's an intelligent question to ask, right? Ruben Amorim says, I don't know. I think it's clear. It's a clear fact, but I think it's not a mental thing. I think they are not thinking. They're not thinking, oh, we're going to be top 5. No. I think it is some moments we play good, sometimes we play bad, and we're not getting the results, which is straightforward to this is what you can actually see. It's not that they're thinking, oh, we're going to top 5 or not. We just need to win the game, and then sometimes we play good and sometimes play bad, and one lapse in judgment and everything goes crazy, right? And then obviously the next question he was asked was regards to, do you think that Diogo and Matthijs will be okay for the next game? And he says, I think so, we'll see, which I told you at the top of the show. Then yeah, someone asked him a question, and this also was another kind of like a heated moment as well. It says, Ruben, you've used the word anxious when you described Patrick Dogo last week. Diogo Dalot used the same word after today. So this was what was read as a miscommunication and understanding of the question. Maybe Ruben Amorim didn't hear the guy clearly, but he says Diogo Dalot used the same word after today. How do you go about solving the team maybe feeling anxious when they have a 1-0 lead? And Ruben says, I said Diogo is anxious. That's kind of like to try to understand the question, right? But that's where Ruben Amorim didn't understand the question. They say, okay, the journalist now asked, no, last week you said Patrick Dogo sometimes on the ball, so it's obviously similar with Diogo. He used the word and said the team felt anxious when they were 1-0 up today. How do you help the team get through that feeling? Ruben Amorim now understood the question and says, I don't feel the team was anxious. I feel the environment was a little bit anxious because it's normal, because we prove in the past when people understand that nothing is certain here, but we didn't draw because of that. We drew because in one second ball we had advantage. We let a corner, and in the corner anything can happen. Basically, those guys were tall and stuff. Another question came again. Last season, you mentioned that you mentioned about the squad's physicality and how it was different in Europe compared to the Premier League. Today, you've mentioned a lot about second balls. Do you think your team has the characteristics you're talking about? He says, we can win second balls. We're winning second balls. This was what Ruben Amorim said. After their goal, we lost a little bit, the second ball, especially with Matthijs Cunha. It's moments of the game. That's why I try to put Mainoo and Mason Mount. They are aggressive, trying to win the second ball, and that can happen in moments of the game, not all the time. And that is why you will understand what he's trying to do. He's seen a lot of second balls being lost, Cunha being tired and stuff, and he put on more aggressive players and disruptors. Managate is a hunter. Is not your kind of guy that will carry the ball and control, as most people will want him to do, but he's your hunter of the ball. He'll go win the ball aggressively. He'll go into tackles and stuff. Mason Mount is also a disruptor like that. You put him to kind of try to win second ball so he can engineer an attack. Now, the second follow-up question was like, so is that a fatigue problem? He says, no, I don't know. Maybe it's more tactical than physical, to be prepared for fighting for a second ball. Maybe because we score a goal, we're a little bit more relaxed. I have the feeling that we had the game under control because the opponent is not even near our box. I don't know. I have to check. So, which means basically in the moment you cannot kind of analyze, but obviously in the long run you have to kind of basically get a sense of what is actually going on. Now, and he has to also review with the team, right? So quick turnaround time, 3 days, 4 days. The question was now asked on him, you're just on AFCON, do you know now when you are talking and when you are going to have players available? He says no. With everything, they are going to play the next game, and that is the only thing I care about, which is the fact. Obviously, I thought that before the Wolves game they'll leave, or they're gonna play the Wolves game and probably maybe the next game. I think that next game is against Aston Villa, or before that game they'll leave or something. It is what it is. Maybe on the day itself they will actually leave. So the next question is, you didn't score against Everton here. Right back scoring tonight. The front three struggled again tonight. Do you feel that you have enough firepower to see your project through, or is that something you might consider looking at the January window? That's a good question too as well, right? He says, no, we need to wait till January. Yep, which is just kind of by the time to get to January, we need to see what we're able to do. So I don't know, and I really don't care about that in this moment. I just want to prepare the game with the players that we have, and we have to do better in the next game. Pretty much straightforward. And there was this one I was trending on social media, the back and forth between him and Kalanka, and Ruben Amorim was asked a question with regards to was it that one where he said something like, oh yeah. So this one didn't have an answer, and I guess that's why it wasn't put on the script and all of that. Kalanka came and says, oh, I'm sorry. Kalanka came and said, oh, I'm sorry to ask you this question, Ruben. He says, in your press conference today, and I think a few other press conferences, you've always said, I don't know. Are you trying to tell me that you don't know what to do to help your team to get to the next level, blah, blah, blah? I think that, not in the exact words, maybe I'll try and probably get the exact words of Kalanka question to Amorim. Kalanka's question to Amorim in regards to that, and it will be interesting to see where that So the Manchester United reporter Kalanka asked manager Ruben Amorim about the manager's handling of young midfielder Kobbie Mainoo during the recent press conference. The exchange. So the question from Kalanka was centered on manager's apparent lack of confidence in Kobbie Mainoo and the player's potential desire for permanent move away from Manchester United to get more playing time. Kalanka asked, were it not for Kobbie Mainoo's lifelong love for Manchester United, he might be asking for a permanent move away from Montreal rather than temporary loan. Amorim's response was brief, I don't know, repeated several times, leading to a somewhat heated exchange and the press officer ending the confrontation early. Ending the conference early. So basically, he now says, oh, you seem to say, I don't know. Are you trying to say you don't know what to do to ensure that you get your team up to the next level or get them prepared or confident and all of that? Yeah, so I got the actual question. So please forgive me for this question. You said I don't know multiple times. Amorim responds and says, when did I say I don't know? Please tell me. And Ruben Amorim was really annoyed because the truth is, it's like I know they're trying to do their jobs, but they're actually poking the bear, right? He says I don't know, talking about other things, and then Ruben Amorim asked him when. Basically, like, tell me the question. Which question do you say that I don't know? Choose the question. So if Kalanko wanted to get a response, he should have answered the question and probably given us, context so that because I'm trying to understand what they're trying to get. He says, I don't know. That's somebody who's actually frustrated with the defeat. What do you expect him to give you? A cool, straight answer? But I already said it in the time past that he's going to definitely give, responses and try to be level-headed, but the truth is, it's hard. If you're a manager of this club, it's hard to actually be level-headed to give answers, but it is what it is. I don't want to flog this issue too much. You'll see the press conference clips in the channel. Just go like it, just subscribe as well, put it in the comment section what you thought. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.